Hello, 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 and welcome. I pray that the teachings have been a blessing to you as well. And today we'll be talking about the realms of consciousness and the realm of consciousness. Now, I said somewhere in the beginning, in these lectures, that we exist in the universe. We exist in the universe and on earth. And I say that we have an in and on existence. Every spirit, every entity, every being, including God Himself, has that existence in and on, in and on. It's a reality of the existence of consciousness. And let's pray. Father, help us to understand. In Jesus' name, amen. When we speak about a realm, we're talking about a sphere of existence. And when we speak about a sphere of existence, we're talking about that place which hosts life, the place that hosts life, and the place where life resides, which is also the place where life rests. When we speak about a sphere, we're talking about a realm. When we speak about a realm, it's a sphere of existence, the place where life resides. And when we speak about consciousness, consciousness resides in itself. So consciousness is the realm. Notice I said the consciousness is the realm of consciousness. Consciousness resides in itself. And in itself, where it resides in its unity. It resides in its unity. There is an unity of consciousness, a within of consciousness, because there is an in of consciousness, and there is an in the in of consciousness, and there is an in that in ad infinitum. That means there are other infinite ins, and those infinite ins lead into the withinness of consciousness, which is the unity of consciousness, where consciousness resides. So there are infinite ins, infinite withins of consciousness that have a within of consciousness, and that within of consciousness is the unity or withinness of consciousness that is consciousness itself. So there are infinite layers of consciousness. There are infinite layers of consciousness that is consciousness itself, and these infinite layers of consciousness are also infinite dimensions of consciousness, and these infinite dimensions of consciousness are also infinite selves, because consciousness is a self. Consciousness is I. Consciousness is I. Consciousness is I, and the I that is consciousness is I am. So there are many I ams from I am. There are many I ams from I am. And these many I ams from I am are in you, because we are speaking about the I am that is you. And also when it comes to the reality of God, there are infinite multiples I ams from I am. That means that we have infinite multiple gods from God Himself. And these gods are God. And now when it comes into your reality, that you have infinite layers, infinite dimensions of yourself, these infinite layers and infinite dimensions of yourself are your infinite lives. They are your infinite lives, and these your infinite lives have come from your unity, from your withinness. And every life is an in. Every life is an in from the in. Every life is an in from the in. Now, it comes to that reality. Consciousness is its own realm of existence, but there are realms of consciousness. Now, when we speak about realms of consciousness, we look at the first one, and the first one is the universe, and this universe is God. Because Paul said, in Him we live, in Him we live. So the universe is the realm of consciousness, is one of the realms of consciousness, and it is only consciousness that can host consciousness. So this consciousness that is hosting us is God Himself. That's what Paul says, in Him. So the universe is God. And when we speak about the universe, we're speaking about a kind of God from God that is known as the universe. And we are living in Him. We are living in Him, and we are moving in Him on earth. We are living in Him, and we are moving in Him on earth. That's the first realm. That is the first of the realms of consciousness. And when you come also to the reality of realms of consciousness, Scripture says the following: you knit me together in my mother's womb. The woman is another realm of consciousness. She's one of the realms of consciousness, because every man comes through woman. Every man comes through woman. Woman is a realm of consciousness. Every female is a realm of consciousness. I repeat, every female is a realm of consciousness. They host consciousness. They host consciousness, and they manifest consciousness. Consciousness is woven in woman and is made manifest from woman. Consciousness is woven in woman and is made manifest from woman. So woman is one of the realms of consciousness. Now, on the One of the realms of consciousness that you also reside in is your house. Your house, your home, where you live. Even if it's your room. Notice I said your home, your house, even if it's your room. So there's your home and there's the room. Now, when you speak about the house that you live in, because consciousness only resides in consciousness, and every consciousness must reside in itself. Notice, every consciousness must reside in itself. So the house that you live in is reconfigured and restructured to vibrate in your frequency. It's reconfigured. It is made into your consciousness. In other words, your house is a portion of your consciousness. Your house is you. You live in you. Your house is you. And the process by which your house is made you is through your electromagnetic wave radiations, because consciousness resides only in consciousness. It is only consciousness that can host consciousness. So your house becomes you and you live in you. Your house becomes you and you live in you. Oh, you're saying, probably you say, but I live with my parents. Yes, you live with your parents. But according to the principle of eldership and according to the principle of the governance of spirits, which has to do with the principle of authority, the ruling consciousness in a house, the ruling consciousness in a house becomes the consciousness that people reside in. The ruling consciousness in the house becomes the consciousness that people reside in. Now, the ruling consciousness is not necessarily the father or the mother, but that spirit, that soul spirit that has ascended and is ascending and has become a greater and higher soul through the process of becoming. So that means that the higher soul could be a child who's 6 years old, and you're living in that reality of the child who's 6 years old, because the electromagnetic waves are so potent. They are potent and heavy, and they must manifest. They must manifest within the structure of consciousness itself, which is now the house that you live in. That is why sometimes when you go to sleep at a person's house, there are things you experience in that person's house. Why? Because the consciousness of that person is ruling that house. You are literally sleeping in their consciousness. You are literally resting and finding rest and sleep in their consciousness, and their consciousness must dominate and must manifest. There's a friend of mine, whenever I go and sleep at their house, I have prophetic dreams. I have so many prophetic dreams. And it's because that is a grace that they carry and it must manifest. It is not necessarily that they're higher than I, but I am finding rest in them, so their consciousness must manifest. So you find that whenever consciousness enters somewhere, because their consciousness is ruling in that house, so it must manifest within the parameter of my consciousness. Even if my consciousness is higher than their consciousness, that consciousness must manifest because it rules over that house. It is the authority over that house. So even if you're higher and you go into a person's house, even if you're higher than them, their consciousness must manifest in certain aspects of itself. It must manifest, whether lesser or higher, it must manifest. So if you're higher than them, it will manifest in a lesser dimension of its potency. But regardless, it will still manifest. And as it manifests, it will indeed determine what your consciousness experience, because you're sleeping in a consciousness and you will experience that consciousness. So in truth, all of us, we move in the consciousness of God, and as a result, we experience the consciousness of God within the reality of God as the universe. So according to the reality of the governance of spirits, the house, the spirit that rules over the house, that means the consciousness that is the house, must manifest. It must manifest and it must play out. Even in the moment you leave a house and you go somewhere else, that house that you used to live in, you leave a portion of your consciousness in that place. And that portion of your consciousness must manifest either for the good of the person that comes to live in that house or for the bad of the person that comes to live in that house. These are realities that are actual, factual, and truths, and they must manifest, and they manifest whether we know it or not. And these are some of the realities that affect our development, and they affect our growth, and they affect the progress that we desire. I remember a couple of months back, actually it was last year, I was with a friend of mine called Davis, and we'd gone to look for a house. And as we gone to look for a house, we got into this specific plot, and the moment we entered, we could discern the vibrations of the consciousness in that place, and we were able to discern that there is a spirit of backwardness in that place, that the ruling consciousness in that plot was of backwardness. People would not progress. People would find it difficult to progress. And we were able to discern that and we left. I've had such experiences. Even I've gone to another friend's house to pray for them. I went to pray for them, but immediately I got into that plot. I could discern the heaviness, the oppression in that spirit, because the oppression in that territory, because the spirit that ruled over that territory and ruled over that house by virtue of ruling that over that territory was a spirit of oppression and of poverty. Now, notice I've introduced another factor, the spirit that was ruling on that territory. I've introduced that a territorial spirit. Now, when we speak about a house, we're speaking about a territory. A house is a kind of territory that resides and that actually exists within a territory. And the ruling spirit in a territory must make itself manifest in the territory that it rules. So, in truth, every territory is a portion of a conscious